So what is going on, everybody? Fernando Silva here with another video, and if you've been following along on the channel, you know that we like to do productivity application reviews on the iPad Pro from time to time because we like to make sure we're staying as productive as possible on our iPads. And you guys have probably seen me do videos on Spike Mail, which is my email client of choice, and then also Taskgate, which is kind of like my end-all be-all management tool that I use on a daily basis, but I wanted something that was a little bit more simple, a little bit more unified, and something that would kind of keep me on task throughout the day, and let me check off kind of smaller tasks that take up time throughout the day. So when I was doing some research, I found this company called Sunsama. I think that's how you say it, Sunsama. And overall, I've been absolutely loving it because it's exactly what I wanted. It's a very simplified but productive version of a to-do list that integrates with pretty much everything that you would throw at it, from calendars to Trello to other CRMs to other to-do list apps, and it makes it all in this kind of one pane view, and it's only meant to do one thing. It's meant to declutter your day, and it's meant to make you feel like you're staying productive and kind of going towards your goal of completing whatever task or tasks that you have to do on that day. And guess what? If you don't finish on that day, it gives you that mentality of like, hey, don't really worry about it, save it for the next day, just move it on over. But we're gonna go through all of those things with Sunsama here real soon. And their main focus is giving you kind of peace of mind and mental health, right? Because they don't want you to get burnt out, they don't want you to get overwhelmed, they don't want you to think like, hey, it's the end of the world if you don't finish one out of your 27 tasks that you have for the day. So that is what their main focus is, and we're going to review the application because I absolutely love it. So let's take a look at Sunsama, their application, see how it works on the iPad, especially through Safari, and how to set it up, because I think their setup process is actually very, very unique. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. So let's get right into this video, everybody. I'm gonna pull up the iPad screen right here so you guys can follow along. And I actually signed out of my Sunsama account, and I'm actually gonna walk through creating a brand new account with you guys. And then we'll go into my actual personal account that I've been using for the better part of 2 weeks now at this point. And the reason I wanna show you guys what it's like to create a new account is because the setup process is what makes this thing so unique. So I'm gonna go through their main page first. So here's the iPad, we got Sunsama right here. It's the daily planner for the busy professionals, right? So trusted by the world's most successful professionals. And it's basically a way to prioritize your to-do list, right? In a day-by-day manner and by a task manner. So set reasonable goals for what you want to accomplish each day. Tasks you don't get to today automatically roll over to tomorrow, which I think is a great thing to do. Because it's supposed to get rid of this like mental anxiety that you have that you don't get all your stuff done. But most of the time it doesn't really need to get done until a couple days later. So this is for when you start to backlog a lot of things. You're like, oh, let me get ahead of myself. Let me try to, bang everything out. And then you really learn that you can't. So that's what this is for, right? Keep track of your tasks and calendar all in one place. See what the rest of your team is doing. So it does work with teams as well. I'm only using it for myself personally, but I do incorporate my calendar for my 9-to-5 job and put it into here as well, right? Do your best work every day. So I'm gonna show you guys what it's like to actually start it off. So let's go through that process. So I put in my email, and then you're gonna go through a workflow process, right? So here it says customize your trial. So these 6 questions will teach Sunsama about how you work and the tools you use so you can get the most out of your trial. And again, it's a 14-day free trial. I'm gonna link it down in the description below if you guys do wanna check it out. No credit card required, and then I think it's like $15 or $20 a month, depending on which plan you choose for you to be able to use it. So we'll press onward, and then it asks you what tools you use every single day. So here we have in here like Trello, GitHub, Todoist, Monday, ClickUp, like everything is in here. So I use Notion, I use email, I use Slack, I use pen and paper, I use HubSpot. Sometimes I use other things. We'll press OK. How do you keep track of like the things you need to do in one day? So whatever app you use, I use pen and paper, notes, email, calendar, in my head, which is probably something that I shouldn't be doing, and then press OK. I use Google Calendar. I do about 1 to 2 meetings a day, probably more than that. And then it starts to ask you how you feel during work. So you can check off as many of these as you want. So it gets to learn a little bit about you. So you will press OK. Is improving your daily productivity critical enough that you or your company would consider paying for a better way for you to stay focused and prevent burnout? So that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to help people prevent burnout, better mental health, especially when it comes to the work and personal environment, because we're living in a world where things kind of like mesh into one, where there's no work, there's no personal, it's all kind of just one thing for 24 hours a day. So having something like this really does help. So I'm gonna press yes, I'm gonna press submit, we're reviewing, and then it's gonna set you up for Sunsama. And I will say that the best way to actually set it up is actually through a normal desktop browser. So Safari on your iPad works absolutely amazingly, and then you can do it on macOS or Windows or whatever the case may be. And then it does have an accompanying app for iPadOS and iOS and Android for that matter, which we'll touch on in a little bit. So here we press create account. Again, no credit card required. We'll sign in with Google. And again, I'm going to show you guys how to do it from scratch, just so you know exactly what to expect. So pause right now if you guys want to download the application or sign up for it, and then we can do this together. So I'll give you guys a second to pause it, but now we're in it, right? So where do you work? we'll just say Fern LLC, just because that's what it is. We'll let it create something, and then it says, what task managers do you currently use? So same kind of idea. We'll press next. We'll press next. I will use Sunsama to plan my day. And then it's going to ask you what part of the day you actually want to plan for your day. So I'll leave it at 9 a.m. And then here you're greeted with the Sunsama dashboard. So this is where we're going to leave, and we're going to go to my actual account. So let's get out of here. Let's go into Sunsama. Let's log out. I'm going to sign in to my actual account. And then here I'm greeted with a Sunsama dashboard. So again, Sunsama is an all-in-one project management tool, but it's based and simplified, all based on your calendar and your tasks. So here you can see everything that we have to do for Monday, right? We have all these different video ideas that you see are marked with a YouTube. Then you have some other stuff in here that's for work that I put in here. And then everything is done through here. And then you can see all the way at the bottom, you see a daily shutdown, because every single day at 5 o'clock, I want Sunsama to shut down and not remind me of anything else that needs to be done until the very next day. So again, another thing built in there for your mental health, kind of like take a break, you're done with work, now go enjoy the rest of your life. But here you can see on the left-hand side, you have your overall days of the week, then you have your channels, which you create on your own. So if you want to categorize personal tasks versus professional tasks versus any other tasks you have to do, you can categorize them right there. So I have, my work and my YouTube one. You can put in all the different ones that you have in here, all the different calendars. So let me walk you through how to actually set up a task and get that done, right? So on the top of every single day, you have the add task button. So let's add a task right here. We'll say edit the Sunsama video in LumaFusion. And then there it is. So here you have a couple quick actions. So you have the check mark, which lets you know like, hey, it's done. You have a calendar quick action to let you know like when it's due if you want to set one up. And then you also have this little timer right, which lets you put down how long you think it's going to take you to get that job done. So I'm going to say about an hour and a half. And then you can see up here, it totals how long it thinks you're going to be working nonstop. So once you're done in there, then you can even channel it. So I'm going to do YouTube channel, and now everything that is involved with the YouTube channel will show up when I click on that hashtag right there. So edit the Sunsama video in LumaFusion, and let's say we get to the end of the day and I haven't even started that. All I have to do is either A, grab it and move it over to Tuesday if I want, so it reminds me on Tuesday, or after 5 o'clock, it's gonna automatically move it to the very next day until it's actually due. So, and then if you do wanna get a little bit more granular on what to expect, maybe some notes, things like that, you click on the actual task itself. You can say that it's due. I'm gonna make it due at least March 2nd, give myself a little bit of time. You have the ability to add subtasks, repeat, duplicate, delete it if you want. You have the ability to add some notes in here, so you can do big heading. So I'll put down, don't forget to sub. That's an action for you guys. So definitely sub on the video if you guys think this is a good application, because I've been really liking this application, just how easy it is to use. And again, I didn't look at any walkthroughs. There was a couple things that were sent to you via email once you did sign up on like how to get started. I kind of like brisked through it really quickly, but it's so easy to use. Because again, it's basically just a calendar scrum board. So the second you're done with something, it gets out of the way. Or if you want to move it over to the next day, you can do that. And it just makes it very easy to manage all your tasks on a day-to-day basis. So that's pretty much how I'm using it currently. There's a couple other things that you can do, especially if you're using it as a company and you're collaborating with other people. It makes it a little bit nicer. But that's pretty much the gist of what I'm using Sunsama for. And then you have the ability to get it a different view. So you have the calendar view. So you can actually view your calendar directly from Sunsama because you are, again, using it with your Gmail account. And you can add as many as you want. So you do have integrations with not only Google Calendar, but then you can also integrate all your emails. So I do believe you can actually grab this and move it in. So let's say you have an email that came in that has an actual task built into it. All I have to do is grab this and move it into Sunsama, and then you can treat it as if it's a task to remind you to get that email done or whatever task that email is using. So then you also have some other ones like putting objectives in here. So I said get at least 4 videos ready for this week. We also have your backlog, you have your archive stuff, you can search. You also have the latest updates, so it lets you know what new updates have been coming out. And then you have all your integration. You can log into GitHub through here. You can log into Jira, Trello. I mean, you name it. Asana, Monday.com is in here, Todoist. So I know MKBHD would love this one. And then also ClickUp. So there's a bunch of integrations that just makes it very easy for this to be your central hub of to-do list applications. And then lastly, what I want to touch on is the app itself. So the app itself is a little bit more watered down. It's not as functional as maybe the main web application or the application for macOS, but the first time you do download it and open it up and then sign in, it does let you know like, hey, this application is mostly made to check off tasks or to actually put new tasks in the system, right? So that's pretty much what it's there for. Just if maybe you quickly have a YouTube video idea or you quickly remember something from a meeting that you just had, you throw it in here so then when you do go back in the morning or in the afternoon, when you do go back to your main application, you can then archive it or edit it or do whatever you need to with that little note. So you do have your task on here, you have your calendar view, you have your backlog, and you have your archive stuff. So that is what you're dealing with the application itself. And then the application is exactly the same for iOS. But That is Sunsama in a nutshell. So it's basically a task management tool to let you organize your life, but with the main priority of mental health and no burnout, right? But let's get out of this view, go to the normal view, and finish up this video. And let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Sunsama, because I really, really like it. So that was Sunsama in a nutshell. So as you guys can see, it is a very simple and pretty application. It's meant to write down all your to-dos for the day and then obviously complete them throughout the day or move them around also. So it kind of acts like a scrum board through your calendar. So being able to use your Gmail on your Google Calendar, being able to kind of designate different channels of to-do lists so you can actually put your personal stuff in here, your work stuff, your hobby stuff. Anything that you feel like you need to get done can be put into Sunsama, and it can all be managed easily through Sunsama. So that's what I love about it, and the two things that I like about it are that it's a simple to-do list application in the grand scheme of things, but then also that scrum board and being able to move stuff around. I think that's awesome to be able to do. I don't know why I like that aspect so much, but being able to grab something that maybe you had to do on Monday, but you didn't finish it and move it over to Tuesday, so it's still in that incomplete state. I love seeing that. Or then maybe the opposite. Maybe you had something that was due on Friday, but you had enough time to get it done on a Monday or Tuesday, move it over, you finish it on a Tuesday, mark it as complete, and you don't have to worry about that again. So if you guys need a to-do list that's a little bit more intuitive than just checking stuff off on the Notes app or something like that, definitely check out Sunsama. I'm gonna leave them down linked in the description below if you guys do want to check them out. They have a 14-day free trial, which I think is absolutely worth it. And again, that beginning stage of how they gets to know you, I think is very, very unique. And it's what's gonna set apart Sunsama from everybody else, right? Because their main focus isn't for you to complete your tasks, it's for you to maintain your mental health, not get overwhelmed, not get burnt out, make sure that you're doing something for longevity versus trying to get something done right away. Now I know that we all have deadlines to meet and things need to get done, but Sunsama just kind of lets you take a step back and think about like, hey, if I wait 5 minutes, if I take a 5-minute break, it's not going to be the end of the world. But that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, it's going to be linked down in the description below. Leave some comments down below of what applications you use to manage, your overall life, right? Do you guys just use a regular to-do list? Do you use a special application? Are you into like a professional CRM? Are you using an abundance of different providers and applications? Let me know in the comments below because I'm very, very curious. I'm a big believer in putting everything into one application so you don't have to kind of go to all the different ones, but that's just my personal preference. Let me know in the comments below. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a little dolphin if you guys made it to the end of the video in the comments, and until next time, peace. Also, Sunsama didn't pay me to do any of this, so this is my personal thoughts and my honest review, everybody. But I'm out of here. Don't forget to check it out.